Technology is a major factor in the function of society today. In our lives, we are surrounded by social media expressing influential opinions and ideas. In Egypt, young revolutionaries took action against their corrupt ruler, Hosni Mubarak. With a few clicks of a mouse, Egyptian citizen Wael Ghonim created an online revolution through Facebook. Inspired by uprisings outside of Egypt and overwhelmed by problems within their own country, Egyptians saw the creation of Wael Ghanim's Facebook page as an outlet to express their disgust with the government and organize a rebellion that led to the defeat of dictator Hosni Mubarak, but which created political tension and uncertainty in Egypt today. As tensions built in Egypt under dictator Hosni Mubarak, the neighboring country of Tunisia took action against their corrupt ruler, President Ben Ali. Protesters took to the streets and successfully removed Ali from power after 23 years. Tunisia was introduced to free, democratic elections, and Egyptians were hopeful to mirror the success in their own country.
Wow, you can actually get a dictator out of his country by uniting. After the Tunisian people, basically took Tunisia back, not took over. I got a lot of pressure from people on the page. Hey, admin, stop silent. Enough silent stands. We need to do it. Please, you are because at the end of the day, not because I'm a great guy. It's because the platform became so big. At that time we had over 500,000 Egyptians. So the platform is so big. It can, it's the biggest platform where anyone can send information and convince people. And we had a lot of credibility built in the last few months, and there was a lot of emotions and connection to the page.
Under Mubarak, police brutality, corruption in government elections, and demographic and economic challenges gave the people of Egypt a reason to rebel. While the Mubarak regime denied that police tortured and abused many citizens, evidence provided by cell phone videos and first-hand witnesses verified the abuse. The Egyptian Organization for Human Rights has documented over 500 cases of torture between 1993 and 2007, many of which resulted in death.
We are against the police. Because they shot us by revolvers, by guns, by everything. And the brother which did, the other which he did, the police said, I didn't make anything. Who has killed him? Everybody. Who has killed him? He killed us. Please.
Police forces worked to repress democratic uprisings to prolong the reign of Mubarak as dictator. Mubarak's corrupt team of supporters persuaded Egyptian citizens during elections, and their manipulation continued the rule of Mubarak for 30 years. Until 2005, he was the only candidate to run for the presidency. Opposition groups and agencies accused the elections of being rigged, but were prohibited from monitoring the vote. Ayman Noor, the only recent candidate opposing Mubarak, was imprisoned before the election in 2005. According to a 2007 United Nations survey, the number of voters was very low because citizens did not trust the corrupt representational system. The conditions of life for average citizens worsened as Mubarak's rule continued. More than 3 million young Egyptians are unemployed, and in 2011, roughly 2.5 million people lived in extreme poverty. Mubarak pursued economic reforms to attract foreign investment and facilitate GDP growth, but this plan backfired because of global economic turmoil, causing Egypt's GDP to drop to 4.5% in 2009.
They've lived under the iron rule of the same man for 30 years. He gave them peace and stability, but not the freedom and prosperity they wanted. And now Egyptians have found their voice.
Our faces are all in the TV now, and we are more dangerous to go home than to stay here. We believe as youth it's better for our dignity to die here. It's safer to die here than to go back home.
It's now almost a week since these demonstrations started, and as you can see, there's still plenty of passion left in these protests.
Wael Ghonim, a citizen of Egypt, recognized that his people were overwhelmed by their corrupt government and ready for a change. Ghonim, a former Google executive, was familiar with technology and the popularity of social media. While scrolling through his newsfeed on Facebook, Ghonim came across a photograph of 28-year-old Egyptian male Khaled Mohammed Said, who was brutally beaten by police. Although the reason for this violence has been disputed, Ghonim was horrified and decided to create a Facebook page to publicize such brutality. Within 2 minutes, the page gained 300 followers. It soon reached 250,000 followers and continued to grow. The page, We Are All Khaled Mohammed Said, allowed Egyptians to turn their frustration into action. Citizens collaborated through Facebook and decided to launch a major protest on January 25, 2011 in Tahrir Square to end Mubarak's regime. The Facebook group for this event attracted 80,000 attendees. Revolutionary leaders posted instructions on the page for protests such as the silent stands, and word spread to those who did not have internet access. The event became so well known that even when the government tried to shut down the internet, word continued to circulate. Mubarak worked to diminish the protests and would not step down. His stubborn nature fueled the fire of the protesters, who united via internet to eventually push him and his family out of power.
رسالتنا النهارده مكونه من كلمه واحده: ارحل. بنقول لرئيس مبارك ارحل، احنا مش عايزينك، احنا مش طايقينك ولا طايقين نظامك. الشعب المصري النهارده بيقول بكل طوائفه احنا مش عايزين هذا النظام. احنا بنقول قفلت كل طرق التغيير السلمي. النهارده احنا بنفتح طريق للتغيير على الطريقه التونسيه، وبنقول النهارده ممكن يكون مش اخر يوم، لكن دي بدايه مرحله انا اعتقد ان هي المرحله الاخيره.
When asked about the revolution, Ghonim said it could have emerged anywhere. Facebook does not a revolution make. It was simply a place for venting the outrage resulting from years of repression, economic instability, and individual frustration.
If you want to free a society, just give them internet access. Because people are gonna, the young crowds are gonna all go out and see and hear the unbiased media, see the truth about, other nations and their own nation, and they're gonna be able to communicate and collaborate together.
Although the Egyptians were successful in removing Mubarak from power, their society was unable to function without government guidance. Egypt was unprepared for such sudden freedom. They struggled to rebuild their government, feeling lost after 30 years under Mubarak's constant control. While they had been heavily unified in Tahrir Square, divides formed as different groups worked to claim power. There was massive dispute between the Islamics and the Muslim Brotherhood, as well as the Salafi and the National Salvation Front. Because of these divisions, revolutionaries who were once united are now barely on speaking terms. The hopeful idea that a democracy could form in Egypt is now being disputed between religious and secular politicians who each hold steadfast in their arguments and beliefs.
Hopes of a civilian government to the elected president have been overshadowed by a power struggle that doesn't seem to be letting up anytime soon.
Ghanim's use of personal technology through Facebook media provided Egyptians with a universal channel to organize protests and alter their government. Motivated by the successes of the Tunisian Revolution, Egyptians channeled their objection to police brutality, corrupt government elections, and demographic and economic challenges into revolutionary protest. They victoriously overthrew dictator Hosni Mubarak, but are currently struggling to reconstruct their political authority. Egypt as a whole is now exposed to the power of technological communication and the dynamic effects it may produce.